Okay, we got our last video with the last two for our Unit 1 Essential Review, number 11 and number 12. So number 11 asked me, solve for all angle measurements. So this is fortunate. It doesn't have any variables in there, at least not yet. That'll happen later, I think. But right now it wants to kind of see what we're remembering in terms of how these angle pair relationships help each other, right? So there's really two things, and you can see the next two questions ask me about them. Which angles are vertical and which angles are, two different colors, supplementary, right? So vertical angles, let's make it at least the same color, right? So if I have two lines that intersect like this, vertical angles are the angles that are across from each other, right? They're vertical with one another. So if I numbered these 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Angle 1 and angle 3 would be vertical with each other. Angle 2 and angle 4 would be vertical with each other. And that's important because we know that vertical angles are congruent, right? They have equal measurements. This is, if you don't know this, it's going to be really difficult to solve this problem. So I'm going to actually start with the bottom first, right? So that's what we're going to look at. So let's see if we can figure out any information from what we have right now. So angle, well, this one's not really numbered, but I see here the one that's 132 degrees is vertical with angle 3. So I probably should have made a little key over here. The measurement of angle 1 rushing, that's a little sloppy. Okay, so measurement of angle 3 is, or 3 is vertical with the 132, so I know measurement of angle 3 already, I can tell is 132 degrees. There's no other vertical angles that I know yet. So I'm going to focus now on this other one, supplementary. Remember, supplementary angles are really any angles that add up to 180. This is more like a linear, well, it is a linear pair, right? If I have two angles, let's call them angle 1 and angle 2. And I add up the measurements, right? M just means the measurement. So 1 plus 2, they would equal 180 degrees, always. So those two right there, as long as together they add up to the one side of that line, they're 180 degrees. So if I look over on my diagram here, I can see angle 1 is a linear pair with the 132, right? Angle 1 and 132 add up to 180 degrees. So do, right? So I'm looking at these two. These two together add up to 180. So do these two. So that makes sense because 1 and 2 are vertical with each other. Those are equal. So I could add either one of those to the 132 and I should get 180. So you can kind of see why this works. So anyway, so angle 1 is whatever I need to add to 132 to get to 180. So that looks like it would be 48. Right, so that would be 48 for angle 1. And angle 2 is vertical. It's the same. So it's also 140, excuse me, not 148. 48 degrees. So I've figured out all of those ones on the top. Now, something that this question doesn't ask me about, but it's important that it's kind of essential actually, that I know, is I also need to know what corresponding angles are. Corresponding angles. And I could have used other angle pairs, but this is probably the easiest one. So corresponding are in the same location location, and they're congruent. So when I say same location, I can see angle the 132 measurement here. If I just focused on that section I've been working on up here, it's in the kind of top right corner. If I go down to this bottom one, the top right corner is angle 5. So they're in the same location. As long as these lines are parallel right here, then the 132 angle and this 5, number 5, are going to be equal, congruent. So angle 5 is 132 degrees. Right? And once I know that, I'm kind of off to the races with the rest of these, right? Because angle 5 and angle 7, I know this is getting sloppy now, but angle 5 and angle 7 are vertical. So if 5 is 132, then 7 is 132. And angle 5 and 6 form a linear pair. So we saw up above 132 and 48 make 180. And 6 and 4 are vertical, so that would be 48. So long story short, you can kind of get to know the hang of these pretty quick. If I have two angles cut by a transversal, it's going to form 8 angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As long as these are parallel, which you'll see that if it has this arrow, kind of big fat arrowhead on it, that tells me they're parallel. Then with those 8 angles, I know there's only 2 different measurements, right? I can see there's a 48, a 48, 48, 48, and then 4 of them were 132s. Oh, this one, it wasn't numbered because it was given to me, that's why. So 4 of them are 132 degrees, 4 of them are 48 degrees. So all the fat ones, all the obtuse ones are going to be equal measurements, and all the skinny ones, all the acute ones are going to be equal with each other. And one fat one and one acute one always equal 180. Okay, I'm going to pause the video after that one. It's a lot to digest. So we did all those. I didn't answer this question specifically, which angles are vertical. I think you can see now 1 and 2 are vertical. The 132 that's not named, and angle 3 are vertical. 4 and 6 are vertical. 5 and 7 are vertical. And which angles are supplementary? Again, I think you can see 1 and the 132, 1 and 3, 4 and 7, 4 and 5, 6 and 7, the ones that are adjacent next to each other.